Hi, this is AstroKrys from CodaQueenAstrology, and today's video is on what is a past life regression. I hosted a past life regression with my friend Linda Ryder, who is a clinical hypnosis therapist, in my Facebook group. If you are interested in joining, the link will be in the description below. We host monthly lives with different spiritual professionals and talk about everything astrology and esoterics. You can also follow me on IG. I host weekly lives and hold Ask the Astrologer segment, and you can ask me questions there in addition to listen to your weekly forecast. And if you're in Clubhouse, don't forget to say hi. I'm at AstroKrys. I host weekly rooms for the Astrology Club and also the Astrology and Esoterica Club. Very excited about that. So don't forget to say hi on Clubhouse. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment below. Let me know what you think about past life regressions. Thank you. Enjoy. So, hi everyone. This is Crystal. Thank you guys for being here. So today we have Miss Linda with us. She is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she's going to be talking about what she does and the different types of services she has and things like that. And we'll focus more on past life regression. You guys are welcome to ask any questions. I'll be reading them off to her, so we can get started. Hi, Linda. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, Crystal. Thanks for inviting me. This is exciting, and I haven't done a Zoom call like this before, so I actually feel like I'm in training. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I've done this for over 20 years. And my interest in this was to have self-improvement and to learn more about life and about success. And so I wanted to be a therapist, but in therapy, you diagnose people, and I think sometimes people live up to their labels. And I was really interested in hypnosis because hypnosis, by definition, is focused work on the outcome. So I wanted to know, what did people want? And they want answers, and they want tools to move forward and be successful in life. So this suited me. And hypnotherapy, of course, sometimes feels very alternative to people, but it works the way the mind works. And so we have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is our operating system, and it's only as good as the information that's put into it. And sometimes we need to change that information. And sometimes we could have a trauma or an incident or difficulties that we can resolve best by going to the root of it and disconnecting it, almost like pulling out a weed and putting in new information to operate from. So I found that was fascinating. And in terms of the past life regression, I'm not sure I really believed in that, or I believed in hypnosis in the beginning until I saw all the positive results. So it has been my passion profession. Past life regression, part of it is kind of spontaneous in the work. If we're going to the root of a problem, sometimes I ask, was it before, during, or after your birth? And people will answer, the first answer is always the right answer. They'll answer what's true for them. And if it's in the past, then we have a way to navigate and go into the past. And so it can answer things that were not able to be answered in this lifetime. Sometimes it exists in the past. And the reason I believe in it now is because the positive results.
Wow, that's amazing. And I really like that you mentioned that about being a little skeptical or not believing in it, because at first it does seem like, how do I have information to this like past life that I don't remember?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how can I get that? Like, how is that possible? But until you're in that hypnosis state and you do it, you're like, whoa, once you it feels so real. It's so real. Like, there's no way that it's not purposeful or that you didn't really get that message from the past, because you can feel it. Like, you're in that relaxed state, you tap into your subconscious, like you said, and you're getting all these memories and feelings, and it has to be true. Like, there is no way you're making this stuff up.
That is so true, because in the relaxed state, you go from the conscious mind, which is monkey chatter a lot, to the subconscious mind, which has stored everything for all time. But it stores your emotions, your energy, it stores your habits, your willpower. So we're tapping into where all that is stored. In the relaxed state, you're able to let it flow. And the reason you don't do it, and some people have spontaneously gone to a past life, but if you, most people are in the conscious mind and not relaxed enough to let information that has been recorded for all time to come through. So sometimes that can scare people, and they can say, wow, did I just make that up? And so I just ask them, where did you make it up from? Because we never talked about that. It wasn't in any part of the work we've done. And the work I do with people helps them get rid of limiting beliefs and negative emotions. And sometimes we have to go back to where it started to disconnect it. And so it's amazing to think or realize that this soul, this spirit has gone through all time. So I do ask my clients if they believe in another dimension after this. And 99% said, yes, they do. Then it presupposes we had a dimension before this. And if that information would help you resolve something, you'll go there, or you'll go wherever it helps. Like if you were 5 years old, or if you were 18. So, first of all, you have to be willing to relax, because I can't manipulate you or control you in any way. Because if I said, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, if you don't want to do it, you won't do it. So it's not manipulation or control. And but if you're really looking for answers and results and success, then it's easy for you to go and get information that really will be valuable. But I was thinking about something on past life regression. A lot of people get information like, oh, I was a queen in a past life. Oh, I was this in a past life. I was famous in a past life. Well, that's possible, because I think we've all been kings and queens and beggars and thieves. So we've all been so many things, because each lifetime was part of our evolvement, our growth, emotionally or in whatever way was needed. So we've all been many things. So that can happen. And some people are surprised where they may go, because it might be just like too simple. But then they'll come away with some learning. They'll come away. And one client, for example, she went to a past life, and even as I'm guiding her and she's talking, I'm kind of thinking, this is really boring. And she came out of it and she said, that was really boring. Except for when she left, she said, that was so boring that I am not going to let that happen in this life. And that's what she learned. I had a gentleman that wanted to get rid of his fear of flying.
That's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to hear.
Well, I had a gentleman, and he was a CEO of a chain of restaurants, very high end. He had a fear of flying, so he drove everybody crazy because they had to fly to the restaurants, and he was very afraid of doing that. So nobody was looking forward to it. So we did all of the hypnosis processes to help him relax and have tools. Then the last session I did, I said, you said I want to resolve this fear of flying. So I said, would you like to do a past life regression? And that's not something I always put in my body of work. And he was an executive and very focused and very black and white. And I thought, well, he may or may not like this. He said, yes, I'd like to do it. But when I do past life regression, the session's about an hour or 2 hours long. I like to do more than one. So I said in our session, and his was a 2-hour session, I said, we're going to do one, and then depending on the time, I want to continue on. So we did 3 past life regressions. One, he was a cowboy. Another one, I think he was just a businessman. And the third one, because I wasn't sure if we got an answer, I said, and then you will show up in a lifetime that explains this problem of the fear of flying. So then that lifetime, he was viewing it, and we don't lead them. We just say, what are you wearing? What does it feel like the year that you're in? What do your surroundings look like? He went to a time he was a fighter pilot, and it was like in the beginning of World War I. It's when airplanes first came. And so I did the math, in my mind to say how old he is and everything. I went, this is possible. And he died in the plane. He got shot down. And that's where his fear of flying was. And it was so perfect because when he described to me the fear of flying, he gripped onto the arms of the chair and he said, it's like this. It's just like this every time. And when he went through the past life, he was in the plane and it was going down and he was holding on. And it totally answered everything for him. And he was looking at a promotion. He had 450 restaurants. The next promotion was 4,000 restaurants, and he had to fly to them. And this helped him resolve that problem with a lot of other tools to relax himself, which you can use for anything. But when you're doing something like that, whether you're working on your own fear or you're working on anger, even resolving things in relationships, you don't actually go into it and have the trauma all again if it was caused by a trauma. And that's important to know, because it's not like you're going to go do this and like get scared to death like you're dying in a plane or something. He's viewing it so he could totally understand. So that was very fascinating.
Wow. Well, we do have some questions, Linda. Thank you for sharing all that, because that is fascinating. Like I want to share my story, but I'll share it after, like once, even if we get time, have some time, I'll share it. But I'm such a fan of past life regressions. And even in astrology, you can actually see issues that are attached to past lives. But I like the combination of using regression to kind of dig deep, because you could only get so much from the natal chart, but you doing that past life regression kind of gives you everything, because you're visualizing, you're like playing this movie in this hypnosis state, and you could even feel things. Like I think in one of my life regressions that you did, because I think we did 2 of them, I was able to smell, like I was smelling things. Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't smell the entire time, but I felt like the surroundings with smell and stuff.
Yes. And it is interesting, because we have all these, we see, we hear, we smell. It elicits all the modalities that you have when you're just even thinking. Sometimes you think about Christmas and you have a smell associated. So That's I'm glad you had that experience.
Yes. So we have a couple of questions. We have Gina that said, this is more of a statement, but she has a question as well. She said her 8-year-old son, let me go back to him, constantly talks about going to other dimensions in the past and the future. And she's wondering if you have some like insight in regard to that.
Oh, yes. And this is all oversimplified. But you know, from 0 to 5, and now it's still into 8 for him, they are closer to the other side than they are to here. Does that make sense? That they came from another dimension and they can speak of it and have, like, what we think they're making things up, but they have that connection, that closeness to the other side. And it's very real, and it's wonderful to ask them about it, because they know things that they couldn't know. And so it's nice for them to be able to have their voice about it, and to connect with that. So I'm hoping that kind of answered that. They are so pure that they can connect easily to another side. We have to do a regression. We have to get out of the monkey chatter, and be guided through that. They spontaneously can do it. Not all children, but you'll see it.
So we'll see that more often in children, especially I think children that are more like sensitive and intuitive, yes, or those indigo or crystal kids that we talk about, right? Like more,
yes,
more attuned to these other like auras and spiritual dimensions and things like that. But yes, as we grow up, our brain matures and it does become that monkey mind that you're mentioning. So it's harder for us to relax and actually go into those meditative states, right? Because that's actually the number one issue that some of my like clients and people that follow me talk about. It's meditation. They want to meditate, but they have such trouble. And in a past life regression, you're not necessarily meditating, but you're relaxing as such that you go into that state where you're just like kind of, in the zone, like in zero, I guess. So it is harder for us to do that.
Well, that's why it's easier if somebody guides you. So I think everybody should meditate, from everything I've ever read or heard, and I suck at it. And the reason for that is, a meditation, you're going into nothingness. In hypnosis, it's focused work on the outcome. You're going, for answers. But the progressive hypnosis, the induction, is very relaxing. And what it does is it keeps relaxing you to the point that you're getting out of all of this headspace. You're getting out of your day too. You're focused on just what the goal is. And you might not even know how that's going to evolve, but you're focused and trusting it will. And hypnosis is actually a natural state for everyone. That's why I say it works the way the mind works. It's a natural state for everyone because you're doing it every day, all the time. So you're driving down the freeway and you're thinking about this problem or this, dream or daydream, and you miss your off ramp. And then you go, well, how did I do that? Well, you were in a trance. You were single focus. So everything else went away because your body knows how to drive. And you were just in a trance hypnosis state. But a lot of people in that state put a lot of negativity in or trash in. And actually a hypnotherapist helps to dehypnotize that negativity. And so it works all through relaxation. And so some people will say, I cannot be hypnotized. All you have to do is remember there's times you stared at the TV. There's times you stared at your computer. There's times you didn't even realize that somebody was talking to you, or that you got on the freeway and you didn't realize how you passed your off ramp. Everybody does it, so everybody can. And the little ones, if they ever do that, my youngest client was 4 and was helping her to calm down. And they have such a short timeline that they actually do everything faster and simpler than we do.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm glad you touched on that. I was wondering, like right when you said that, I was wondering, I wonder how kids get into this state quickly. Like you just said it. Okay, I have another person asking a question. This is Kim, and she is asking, can past life regression help with shadow work and healing childhood trauma?
You know, I have to, without specifically knowing about it, I still have to say yes. Because if you go in with the intention, past trauma could be here. So the language I use is, if you were to know, was the root cause of the problem, like the trauma, was it before, during, or after your birth? And you'll always take the first answer that comes to you. And some might go, wow, during my birth or before my birth. And they go, that can't be possible. So I've even had some people kind of lie to me. And then at the end, they'll tell me, you know, it wasn't. Or in the middle, they'll see it safe and they'll say, it wasn't, you know, after my birth. It felt like it was in the womb. It felt like it was before. And before, I'd like you to know that before, you could have a trauma, you could have a problem, it could be before your birth, but it could come from 2 sources. One would be past life, one would be through the genealogy, through your bloodline. You could actually have something come through your bloodline, like that, you know, when we talk about the guilt comes through the bloodline or a certain fear comes through the bloodline, that's possible. And it happened a generation or 5 generations ago, but we can go back there and see what happened and then resolve it, because you're realizing that was in that time, but I somehow an emotion bled through and I'm operating from that. When you know it, you can let it go, and then you've solved that, resolved that emotion.
Yeah, and so she has a follow-up question, but I kind of wanted just to mention this because we have another person asking, like, how do you know who is a good, like a good fit for a therapist, a past life regression therapist? And I want to answer this first. I really think you do have to find someone that's qualified like Linda, because she's a clinical hypnotherapist. So she doesn't just focus on past life regressions. So she can take you to different things. So she can take you to past life regression, and then from there, hypnotherapy, like hypnosis for current things, take you into fear. She did that for me. So she's able to kind of holistically treat you with different like modalities that she uses. And I know that some of the past life regressionists, and not to say anything bad about them, I'm not here for that. If they're not really trained to have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, then they only have the regression to give you. And what about the healing? Are they, because sometimes a past life regression doesn't necessarily heal you. You might heal some things, but maybe you have to do an additional work, and that is different things, right, Linda?
Crystal, that was really perceptive. That is really good that you shared that, because how a session goes, somebody comes to me for fear or anger or stress or anxiety or depression or relationship problems. Well, I'm always listening to what the problem is, but also what do they want. So I'm doing a process. I'm always going toward what they want, and they want to resolve something, but we don't always know where it locked in. So when we're doing the work, we may do a piece on fear, and we just want to go to the root of fear, and it might have happened 10 years ago. It usually didn't happen 1 year ago. You know, there's a root of it, and then we kind of get good at an emotion, and like fear, anger, or guilt. And so in the relaxed state, we just ask, you know, and we always ask permission of the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is here to protect you. So we say, is it all right with the subconscious mind for you to go to the root cause of fear? Yes or no? And they say yes. And then if you were to know, was it before, during, or after your birth? But let's say they say no. That means the unconscious mind does not want to go there now. It wants to do something else. So then what I have found is sometimes when it wants to do something else, I will say, thank you for sharing that. And would it be all right if we go to the root cause of fear at a later time? And they almost always say yes. So then I'll say, is it all right with the unconscious mind to go to the root cause of anger? Yes. So then we will do the process on anger. Now the unconscious mind knows what we're going to do and very willing to do fear. Fear drives every emotion everyone has. So that's why we start with that to solve problems. Even in relationships, what is your fear? And when you have anxiety, when you can't public speak, when, we start with fear because it drives every emotion. So the unconscious will actually answer if it's okay to do the work. And we always check, because you don't go bungling in to things assuming, because everyone's different. And sometimes people need their time. Sometimes they need to just talk to me to see if I'm okay to work with. And because you relate to people differently. And so far, I haven't had anyone that said, no, I can't do it with you. But I'd be glad, to be able to refer them to somebody if they had those feelings. You always work from people from where they are, where their emotions are.
Yes, yes. And the follow-up question that Miss Kim had was, what if you have both a direct injury from this lifetime and also something from the past, that's where a good therapist would have those tricks and be able to kind of heal the past and then come forward in the healing here. Like with me and Linda, we worked 5 sessions together because I had some past life stuff to work on that ended up coming to this life. And I'll share this with you guys. I had fear, like tremendous fear of being homeless, tremendous fear of not having food. And I had no idea. Now I know. I had no idea back then why. And I've always worked really hard to make sure I have food on the table, but it creates so much anxiety if I don't have security. And, we went to the bottom of things, and it made so much sense once I got there, but I didn't go to Linda for fear. I went to Linda to do a past life regression. We did that. And then she asked, can we work on fear? And I'm like, sure. So we started working on it. And little did I know that she was catching on my fear. I guess like subconsciously, it was saying, she has fear. You caught it. But I didn't want to say that.
Yes. Well, you can have the fear can root in a past life, and it would be beneficial to disconnect it there. And where you want to is how it works is we all have a timeline. So people might say, well, if I knew how to get rid of fear, I would have done it. Well, we have a way to do it. We have a timeline. Everyone has a timeline. So you're sitting in now, And it's as if your past is a line behind you on the ground and your future is a line on the ground in front of you to the last mortal day of your life. Well, I have people experience their timeline so they can kind of navigate that. So when we're doing the process in a relaxed state, we'll say, was the root before, during, or after? And they take the first answer, and it could be before. So I'll ask, was it in the womb? Was it before that? And they'll may say, what's before that? Well, was it in a past life or passed down through genealogy? And they'll actually get the answer. And we will go there, have them continue on their timeline to another time. And then they will stop at the root because we've given the instruction. One thing we think is the conscious mind is so smart and has all this information and everything. The subconscious mind has been through all time. It works in nanospeeds compared to the conscious mind. So when we say go to the root, it'll be before. Well, how many lifetimes? Well, 4. And then, keep going on your timeline, and it understands that. And it'll keep going to the moment they had the original fear. And you'd like to, or the original trauma, or the original incident that caused the problem you're trying to resolve. And so the subconscious understands what's going on. And the conscious mind wants to monkey chatter it and question it and everything. Subconscious just goes, no, and keeps going and go to the root. And you're always above the problem, looking down at the problem and resolving it that way. But it is possible, like Crystal said, you could feel it, hear it, and smell it. The only thing that that I'm real appreciative of is somebody won't go right back in to that trauma. They realize they're viewing it. And so it makes it a lot easier for people to resolve something, bring back the information so that it is not affecting their life from here on. So let's say we clear up fear in the past. It does not mean that you wouldn't have an appropriate or warranted fear, but you won't have all this buildup of fear for all time. I think it's appropriate to have a fear if somebody is down the street with a gun. You should go the other way. So it takes care of all inappropriate, unwarranted fear. And sometimes our fears come out of misunderstandings, like something happening in childhood or in a past life. And it's said that past lives are like chapters, like in the book of Crystal. All those lives are chapters of learning up to this point. And if you need to learn more, you'll have more chapters. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally makes sense. And I like that you mentioned that we don't identify with, because kind of going into a past life and then identifying with the trauma, that's even more painful, right? So yes. I remember when you led me to those past lives, like you were telling me, okay, so from above, from the side, like, and you led me not to actually merge with this person, right? Because I couldn't really see the person. I saw like silhouette, I saw my hair, things like that,
Yeah.
And I never went in, but I figured, I'll probably do that stuff. So I'm glad that you led me not to, because I would have jumped in like, I love that you bring that up. And then we did have someone mention, guess they wanted clarification on monkey chatter. She said, when you say monkey chatter, is it just like everyday things that you think about? Because when I try to meditate, I see faces in almost hyper speed, which that could be monkey chatter, right?
Yes, it's activity going on. You're going into nothingness or stillness, to get answers. And what happens is then your voice is going, am I doing it right? Well, maybe everybody else is doing it right, but I'm not doing it right. Well, maybe this doesn't work for me. Well, what if I just felt that? Maybe that's not true. That's, that dialogue that it's like little monkeys behind you going and going and going. And there's it can be a lot of it. And that's just your conscious mind. Our conscious mind is thinking about all kinds of things all the time, but you're relaxing and your mind is still going. And would you still think about, oh, I'm wondering what I'm going to have for dinner tonight? Yes, you could, but most of your conscious mind is quiet. So you can move into the subconscious, which is your information system that has recorded everything for all time. And it's just not always popping that up all the time unless you ask. And in that quiet state of regression or hypnosis, that you are asking.
Yes. And we have a few good questions that are coming up right now. Another question was, do you remember your past life regressions after you finished the hypnosis? And I can share my story and maybe you can share your insights. Yes. I remembered most of it. Do I remember everything? No. So what I did is when I was driving home, I put my voice memo on and I started describing the things that I saw, what I did, what I felt. And then I kind of recorded what happened. But faintly things kind of disappeared and I'll re-listen to it. And then the visualization for me comes back. And I really think that's individualized. I'm a good visual learner and I can play movies. Even when I read books, I just my mind is very creative that way, but I know some people aren't. So I don't know, have you experienced different testimonies from your clients?
First of all, I used to guide someone, and you don't guide them into a place you want to go. You guide them into what they've said. And so if they are in a past life, and then you say, look down at your feet. What are you wearing on your feet? So you don't tell them what they have on their feet. You're saying, what are you wearing on their feet? And they'll tell you, look down. What are you wearing on your clothing? Look around. Where are you? What does it look like? Are you inside or you outside? So in answer to the question, I used to write down everything they said, or they can record it, that's fine. And thinking, I'll, remind them or play it back until I remembered and was reinforced. You record everything. You're always recording everything in your mind. And everything that interests you, you will remember. But then also, like you said, Crystal, you'll play it back, you're recording, or you'll think it back, and then more things will surface. More information will come up, and more things will make sense. So I stopped writing down everything they said because I knew they were remembering it. So it's when you are in the state of relaxation and hypnosis, you don't go to another planet. You are still, you can come out of it very quickly if you wanted to. If you heard something, you need to take care of something, you come out of it. You never get stuck in that state. It's a safe place to be. But it just makes sense and doesn't feel fearful or scary when you're doing it, and you remember all of it. And then I do sometimes ask, is there someone there? Do they look familiar? Because that can answer some of the past life questions of, well, is my son my mother from another life? Those kind of things. Is my husband, was he somebody that I was close to in another life? So I ask him, look around, does anyone seem familiar? And sometimes that'll answer some things, questions in this life about people in your life, or maybe even about why they act the way they do if they are a familiar person. But we're not leading you into that. It spontaneously comes out because it's working from information you have.
Which is intuitive, very like an intuitive process. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we have, let me see. There was another question that I really wanted you to answer. There we go. If I have a lot of blank memories, is it possible to remember them again? I don't remember a lot of my childhood, which I think this is a really good question.
That is. A lot of my clients will come in and we're going to work on fear. They don't know the process we're going to do, what we're going to do. And when I explain to them what we're going to do, they'll say, I don't have memories of my childhood. And that's valid for them. They don't, because sometimes the subconscious mind is protecting us. And it's not going to bring up those things. We'll have amnesia from a trauma or something, or we just don't have memories of day to day, and wasn't, it wasn't good or bad or anything. However, when I say, well, then to help you, we're going to, release fear, and then we're going to work on the timeline. We're going to go to the root cause of you having fear. They actually will go back to their childhood, and they have no memories. They say they have no memories of their childhood, but they'll go back to their childhood and go to a time that we can disconnect that fear. But we remember we're always preserving the learning, so they have something to put in to where we took out the fear. They have information to put in. So now they're operating from that new information. And then we're kind of cleaning up all the fear in their life. And it goes very quickly because the unconscious moves very quickly. And so the thing is that it will go there. Then I realize my client goes, I don't remember a lot about my childhood. And you'll always remember anything you need to remember, or it's suppressed to protect you. But they actually will see, and you can tell that they go, wow, I remember something when I was 5 or 3 or 2 or 6. And so they realize they do have that history and that memory, but some was needed, some was not, but they will go back to it even though they don't remember childhood. And I don't remember a lot of mine, so I understand what they're talking about.
Wow, you know what? So I never really gave it much thought. I remember like my childhood very, very clearly. I don't remember my teen years in my early 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've had the same best friends since childhood. We were little girls, kindergartners, 4 of us. And they're like, Crystal, do you remember when we did this? And I'm just like, no, I don't. And I remember things when I was younger with them, but that period, and I've always thought of it like strange. I'm like, why don't I remember? Well, I used to smoke marijuana, so it might be that.
That's right. That's right.
I stopped in my 20s, my early 20s, but I was kind of always thinking that, but actually those were one of the most painful, like that was a painful stage for me because I started dating, and I was dating all the wrong men. Very abusive and things like that. And cheaters. So I think I kind of blocked it out. Now that you're saying this, I feel like maybe that's what happened. Wow.
Yeah. And some of that is so useful that it does get blocked out, and we don't need to go stir it up. But if we're going to go resolve something, we might look at it for the purpose of disconnecting it and putting new information in. And you know what? I do believe that people remember what they want to remember. They remember what they're interested in. And as you get in your 20s, you had so much more information coming to you than when you were 5. So 5, it's real simple. And those are significant emotional events. Then things and more things happen. And then you start to get filled up. We start sorting out what you're going to remember and what you're not going to remember and what you want.
Wow, that makes sense. I never gave it much thought. But now that she mentioned that, you guys were talking, you were answering this question, I was like, wow, maybe that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Let me see. We had a few other questions. Okay, so we did answer, can last lives be remembered doing hypnotherapy? So we did answer that. Someone asked, how many sessions does it take? And I think that's really individualized, right?
Yeah. You know, Chris, you talked about yours, so I'll talk a little bit about it. You wanted to do past lives. You were just curious about that. So we did it so you would have an experience. And the reason that we do more than one, depending on our time, is so that you realize you didn't make it up because you went to different times. And so you wanted to do that. Then we start to want to work on some things that are happening in this life. And with my clients for that, relationships or fear, or even working on success, get rid of the things that are holding you back, and start to, if you can pass life, you can progress too. So they can have you see yourself being successful and speaking and doing all of these things, these goals and successes you want. We rehearse them in advance. So if we can go past, we can also go forward. Well, that is usually a package someone will buy for having 5 sessions. And in 5 sessions, we can do almost every modality of self-improvement that there is in terms of hypnotherapy. So if somebody wants to do past life, they're doing 1 session just like you did, and then decided, I want to do other things. And I want to talk about relationship, and I want to talk about, my future goals and my career. And so there's lots of choices and lots of options. I never promoted past life regression because I knew in the work that we did, if they were ever to go there, then it would be a natural process of our work. And with the one that was the pilot, I asked, let's just see if we could finally resolve this. And I asked him if he'd want to do it. Probably the only person I ever said, would you like to try this? But otherwise, it kind of naturally, organically comes out of a session if answers were from the other side. And speaking of that people that are interested in past life regression, well, I'm a hypnotherapist, so I was skeptical of hypnosis. I was skeptical of past lives. And I didn't want it to be all wooey or all, so alternative, because I'm pretty grounded. And I didn't want people to, have fear around it. So when I saw the amazing things that could happen by doing these processes, then I had the convincers and I had more confidence and I wanted to do more. Well, in that process, I read a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, and it's by Brian Weiss. Now, he was a psychiatrist that accidentally stumbled on past life because he had somebody that had stress and he worked with them. And he's a psychiatrist, and I think he was like on the board of Harvard or Yale or something, and it'll be in his book. It's an interesting story. Well, he was working with somebody, and he worked, in a therapeutic session with somebody for a very long time, and he couldn't get rid of the stress, and he was frustrated. So one time he just said to his client, I want you to go to the very first time you ever had stress. And he's doing it out of frustration, but he'd been with her many times, had a lot of trust. And she, kind of just closed her eyes and she went back to a past life. Well, he's a psychiatrist, and he goes, that can't be possible. She can't do that, because they're grounded in, the here and now. And she did. And then he'd do another time, and she did again. Well, he couldn't tell anybody because sessions are confidential. So he couldn't say, hey, I had this client and then she went to past lives. What am I going to do? Well, he started researching it and studying it. Now Brian Weiss only does past lives. And he goes and speaks in different areas. So one time I went to Long Beach, California to hear him speak, because then what I wanted to know, I know through hypnosis, we do past lives. I wanted to know, does he have a special way? Does he have a special trick? Does he do something, say something different and something that I don't know? And when I went to hear him speak, he does it exactly the way a clinical hypnotherapist would do it in their office. And I went, this is just golden, because this is the expert. But the book is fascinating. It's a fun read, a good read, and very educational. So anyone interested in past life and kind of putting together the meaning of life, a lot of it is in his book.
Yes, and I like that you brought that up, because Carl Jung, right?
Yes.
Everyone enunciates his name differently.
Yes.
But he was a psychiatrist, and he studied all sorts of modalities, continued with Freud's work, and when he was stuck, he would look at people's astrology, right? But he also did past life regression, and he also did numerology and talked about the chakras. So it's so interesting that these experts, they kind of put everything together, because we're all holistically, this is everything that works for us. But in Western society and medicine, we don't use that. We're like, here's the pill for this, which there's nothing bad with that, but I really think it needs to be accompanied by other methods to get like faster healing and just kind of heal overall in general. And that's why I like all this. I like meeting women like you, and getting to know all these other practices, because it just helps like the person continue to heal in whatever journey that they're taking and whatever things that they use. I know you taught me some EFT and things like that. So I loved it. I loved all the sessions I had with you. By the way, I have another question. This is from Angela, and she's asking, have you ever had any clients bringing up their lives from other star systems, like star seeds? Have you heard of star seeds?
I have heard of it. Okay. And then actually, yes. But the reason that I don't go, oh yeah, and this and that, I always leave my client to where they are, and they're having the experience. So some people have said a couple of things, that they, maybe went to another place or a porthole or even in between lives. And I'm not an expert on any of it. So I just guide them, have the experience, say everything they want to say about that, because, they are having the experience. And because I don't have experience in those particular things, I never contribute to that. I just let them have their experience. I hope that answered that for her. But here's why I say that. I believe anything is possible. And I believe too that a person, because it's coming through the unconscious, I believe they're safe wherever they go. So I hope that kind of answered it, because I don't know as much as she knows about that.
Yes, I think it did. I know Angela, so she's really into that. I can tell if you are from different lineages in your natal chart. But I like both. I like to learn about that, but I'm also very grounded, because, and this is funny, because I was thinking about this 2 days ago, and I was saying, how beautiful is it that we're experiencing life on Earth, right? Just like being able to just connect with the animals and experience family. And I was kind of meditating on this. I was getting ready to I'm gonna put a post on my IG about this, and this is why I started meditating on it, because Earth Day is coming, and to me, Earth Day has always been a big deal. I know maybe to others it's not, but I love it. I love Earth. I love, all the beautiful scenery and the people that we have here, and we're all beings, animals, insects, everything. Like, so I was meditating on that, and I was like, this is the best planet to be. So I will be kind of biased when it comes to star seeds, because I do respect that. And I used to astral travel a lot when I was younger. Now I control it a little more, but I still do it. I know I go to different places, because it seems like, movies, and I can see the Earth from above. But no matter what, I go back to Earth. This is what I wanted to be.
and you know what? When you think about that, we're on this journey of Earth, and a lot of times we're hitting the wall. We're hitting the wall with a sadness, a hurt, just life stuff. And it seems like, what did I do to deserve that? Well, on our journey, the harder the hit, the higher the evolvement. So if you believe that there's a higher power, the divine, some people it's God or Buddha or just divine higher power. If you believe in that, then that power created all of this. Why wouldn't you enjoy a flower and the grass? And sometimes I look at our animals and I go, how did this get created that they come and bring us so much pleasure? How do our children come and bring us so much pleasure and involvement and learning and relationships? Wow, they're our biggest learning. But don't you want to go and be at the end? And I'm a lot older than your people here, and so I'm thinking about, the next 10 years or so, and I'm thinking about, I want to go with no regrets, and I want to be at the end and say thank you. And I saw the flowers, and I saw the clouds, and I saw people's hearts, and I saw the animals, and none of that could I have created. It's all a miracle. But I saw you're a miracle. And I want to be able to say, and you know what? I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Thank you for making those things. So I kind of look at it like that, yeah, we're going to go through some fires, but just keep going and then learning what you have to learn, and then start manifesting what you'd like, because everything you need is already right here.
Because we are in this tangible Earth, right? We're here. We're here.
Yes.
Yeah. But I love all the starseed stuff. I really got into it at one point, but I just found a deeper appreciation to Earth and living things. And it, animals could just give you such gifts, such beautiful gifts.
Yeah.
But Angela's really, really good at that. She likes that stuff. She does a lot of research, and she goes back and forth with me. I learn a lot from her. Let me see. Did we disconnect?
I'm still seeing you. Could we have timed out?
No, it doesn't time out, but we're at almost at the hour. Let me see, because it looks like it disconnected a bit. If you guys are here, can you let me know if you can hear us? Because on my end it said it disconnected. Okay, here. Yeah, okay. I think we are good. Okay, let me see. So people want to know how you can book a session with you. So I'll put all your details on the post. And do you want them to email you, or how do you want them to reach out?
Actually, the easiest way is to text, and it's from my phone number. So I think that's the easiest. The less work for anyone too. So then just use the phone number. Okay. And do you have that in the information you're going to send them?
Yes, I could put it in the comments. I just don't want to say it on the video, so your number won't be out there, unless you don't mind.
Yeah.
The deep dark web.
Well, if the divine gets my phone number, that's okay. So anyway, our sessions are usually an hour and a half to 2 hours long because they go very fast. And people will think they can't do it. They will always be able to do it if they want to tap into that, a different way of growing and learning. Past life, well, you did that. And I remember thinking, oh, I wish we could do some more things with her. She has such a dynamic life. And you want to do past life, and then you just go off, and then pretty soon I get a connection from you. I go, yes, we're going to do some other things because your life is so colorful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I told you, I said, once you get settled in Texas, we will talk. Because she was over here in California and she went to Texas. So
yes.
Let me see. I'm trying to get the comments, and it looks like I clicked off. So let me see a couple more comments. Okay, so yes, she does practice nationwide. She does it through Zoom. And right now she's in Texas, but she was in California. So
yes. And also a lot of my clients, we're doing FaceTime. It's just so easy because then they don't have to dial in or anything. We're just doing FaceTime. So if that's easier for someone, then, and it's more familiar, then I do more FaceTime than I do Zoom.
Ooh, okay.
They don't have to dial in or anything. We're just doing FaceTime. So if that's easier for someone.
There we go. I'm sorry. When I click to read the comments, it like opened another video, and that's probably why you heard the double. Okay, let me make sure I covered most of the questions. Okay.
But any questions, when you put out the phone number, they don't have to book an appointment. They can just ask a question, and I'll text them back and answer it.
Yes. Oh, and so Angela said that he read all of Brian Weiss's books, and she loved all his books. So yes. You guys read his books. And we have Elaine that said she has testimony that there was a patient that was afraid of water, and he did past life regression, and they found out she died in a sinking ship. Then they worked through that fear.
Yes. So sometimes we'll find a weight problem will be in a past life, and in a fear or a phobia can be in a past life, and it bled into this life. Sometimes our preferences, our likes and our dislikes can be from a past experience, not here. That's why past life regression can answer things for this lifetime.
Wow. And you guys, Linda and I were talking about this. If you guys are interested, let us know. Maybe we can run a group, like a group past life regression where she takes us on to the journey together. How many people would you need for that? Like, how many people is the max? I don't know.
It depends. So think about Brian Weiss. When he goes and speaks around the world, he could be speaking to 60 or 600, and then he talks about what it is, what it isn't, and then he starts guiding them. And so where I would have written down information about the individual's past life, they're all having their own experience, and they are going to remember it. So we could have, 60 people. Wow. And they'll all have their experience. And, I think that they'll get what they need at the time.
Yes. And I think that will be more affordable for people too, because you wouldn't have to afford to cough up. Yes. Which actually Linda is very affordable because I shopped around. She's super affordable.
Good. But I am. I've had the same price for 20 years, And a lot of people say, why do you do that? And I said, well, I'm here to help, not to hurt them.
Yeah,
and I think in COVID, a lot of people had some financial concerns.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Everyone was freaking out over COVID. And I think still now, right? Because we're still kind of unsure, especially with the media and everything, you know, it's going bad, it's not going bad, this, that. So it's just causing a lot of fear and anxiety in people. So,
you know, I think it is, but I also think that it's settling out. And one of the things I talk about in a strategy for success is to focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Because if you're focused on what you don't want, you're actually going to get more of that. You've never said, I don't want to be sad, and then all of a sudden you were less sad. You got more sad. So I want you to focus on what you want. So after this COVID, and as we're continuing on, you got to ask yourself, what do you want in your life? Start to manifest that. You start to put out that rocket of desire, and your subconscious is going to track it and go toward that instead of going toward what's unwanted, like fear or sadness or betrayal or whatever. And so that's what I say for everybody coming out of this COVID. What would you like to create? And start doing it. We're not limited.
Wow, sorry, I was distracted by the comments. So I'm reading them, and Amy's in the audience, and she's like, I know these people. So Amy says hi.
Well, hi, Amy. Yes. Yeah.
And then let me see. So we have some people interested in the group Past Life Regression. So we can talk later and set up a date, and most likely it'll be on the weekend, right? I think weekend suits people most.
And actually, for me, it is what the majority is better, what it's suited for that, because I have a life where, I'm really flexible.
Okay. So we can talk about that later. I'm so excited about that. And I think it'll be fun after, when we get out of the regression state, and have everyone kind of share what they saw, what they felt. And I can't wait for that.
Yes.
And
there's one other thing that we can do sometime is take everybody to the root of their fear so they could disconnect it. I used to do that, when you do groups for referral groups, they're networking groups. I used to speak at networking groups and have them all do the root of fear. And at the end, some people will have an experience, some people won't. Some people will say, that was life-changing. They got exactly what they needed, even though we did a group. So groups are always affordable and work. They do work.
Which I really think this group of people, because of the stuff that they're into, I mean, they're following an astrologer, right? We're a little bit more creative with our mind and kind of go with it. I find the people that are more resistant, like, I don't know if this is right, this is not right, kind of like that. Yeah. They're the ones that don't get the most out of it, because they're overthinking. They're not letting that subconscious mind take over and just kind of lead them. So that's right. I think they'll benefit a lot. Angela lives in Texas, and she's like, yay, you're near me, but I don't know, where did you move?
I'm in Frisco, Texas.
Okay, so
Angela,
that's, sorry, go
where
ahead.
Is she?
I don't know, maybe she'll type it in. Angela, you can let us know where in Texas you are. And Amy said she's in, so Amy would like to go on the group Past Life Regression.
Okay.
We are, and then Maria said we are all woo-woo.
That's right.
And then, she said East Texas.
East Texas. So she's East Texas. I don't know if Texas is so huge. So I'm not even going to guess that one, because it could be Waco, it could be El Paso, it could be, but Frisco, Texas is just north of Dallas.
Okay, north of Dallas. Okay. Okay, well, I don't know if she's near. If she is, maybe she wants to see you in person. She can reach out to you when I post your number. And then we have a couple that say that they're interested, but maybe they have too much baggage. No, I think everyone has a lot of baggage. So
you know what? Yeah, that's a real good point to bring up. Well, there's so much baggage that they'll do a process and they'll be bombarded by it. That's not how your mind works. The unconscious mind is not going to hurt you like that. You know, it'll take what's most important, help you solve that, which then can solve a lot of other things. When you, like, if you go to work on fear, it will actually benefit a lot of the other areas in your life. So, yeah, your mind is also, your subconscious, your conscious mind is here to help you, not to hurt you. And so as you resolve things, you get lighter and lighter.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Okay, guys, so we're coming to a close. If you guys have any last questions for Linda and all her insight, I love it. I mean, I love your voice. Every time I speak to you, I just get like soothed. I'm like,
very good.
Let me see. I think another comment came in. Can past life regressions help with karmic lessons for this lifetime?
Absolutely. That's where it can solve some things in this lifetime. It happened in another lifetime, but it can solve some things in this time. And it reminds me of a story of a gentleman that did not get along with his sister at all, didn't like her. And he went to do a past life regression, probably on something, you know, just spontaneous, but he recognized his sister was in that life and they had a lot of difficulty. And he was viewing it so he could see that difficulty. And when he came back, you know, with the information that he had and recognized she was part of his past life, he also recognized that he was hard on her and angry with her. And it wasn't in this time. He was pulling something from another time, so he let it go. And then he had a better relationship with her. And I would say, is that karma? Is, you know, what is that? But I think, yeah, of course. I think whenever we learn something or we progress, we are karmically mending, you know, and repairing and doing what's needed.
Yes, you're right. And I really do think healing past life, there's no way it's not going to impact you in this life.
Yeah, but it is so interesting. It's so interesting. And you know what I find, people, they'll have a past life. They think they can't go there. They'll have that experience. But you know, it brings them evidence, because a lot of people are afraid of the next dimension, or they're afraid there's no dimension, and they have a fear of dying. Well, if anyone's done a past life, then what they realize, it's just a chapter. We never die and we all meet again. And so there's some great relief in that. So.
Yes, and then Amy's giving you a compliment. Thank you for taking such care of my clients. Linda is amazing.
Thank you, Amy. That's so nice. Great. Yes.
Yay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Linda. Actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you one more thing that it's more for me, I guess, because I wanted to get this reminder. I remember you were explaining how the subconscious mind does not know. No.
That's right. Okay. Yes, I touched on this. The subconscious mind is here for you. And it stores all your emotions and everything. The subconscious has duties, and it takes everything literally and personally that happens. It doesn't determine if anything is right or wrong. but it cannot compute negatives. And it can't. So I'll give you an example. I want everybody to think about, well, I actually want you to don't think about your car. Don't think about your car, and don't think about what color it is. So I said, don't think about your car. Don't think about what color it is. You saw your car and you saw what color it is. So if I say to you right now, do not think about a blue tree, you will first see a blue tree before you can make a green or white or whatever you want to make it. Your mind cannot compute negatives. And that's what's so important with this, is you want to speak to yourself in what you want, not what's unwanted. We are conditioned to say, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to be, I don't want to
work like a
be
slave.
afraid. Yeah. So what happens is you're saying, I don't want to. The mind cannot compute the no. I don't want to. It can't compute negatives. So you're putting out energy to the universe, which is energy. Like energy attaches to like energy. So I say, I don't want to be fat. And I say it 1,000 million times, I don't want to be fat. It can't compute, I don't want to be fat. It hears, be fat, be fat, be fat, be fat, be fat. And then it's here for my survival. So it says, Linda, wouldn't you like a cookie? So the point of that is your mind cannot compute negatives. So you speak in what you want, not in what you don't want. So if you say, I don't want to smoke, all of your thoughts, words create pictures. I don't want to smoke. Then you see a cigarette. And then now you want the cigarette. So, what you're referring to, Crystal, is your mind cannot compute negatives. So you got to watch your self-talk and speak to yourself in, I'm slim and trim, and that gets better every day. I'm a money magnet. I attract the ideal people into my life every day in every way, better and better. I am so happy, I'm calm and relaxed. So people say, I don't want to be nervous. I don't want to be anxious. They've got to watch their self-talk and move it into, I'm calm and relaxed. And that gets better every day. Is that what you're referring to, Crystal?
Yes, I love it. I love it. I needed that refresher.
I need that reminder all the time too. Focus on what you want. You will always get what you speak of. So make sure you're not going in the direction of what is unwanted.
Yes.
Okay.
So as you guys can see, Linda's a wealth of information. I really love when she did this exercise with me, because she told me, don't think of that blue tree. And the first thing I thought of was a blue pine tree.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we talk about, don't think about a pink elephant. And then a little pink elephant goes by.
Yes.
And so words create pictures, and your body believes every word you say. So think about what you want. And so, and think about the success, and think about the health, and think about what is the opposite of fear. Fearless. I'm fearless. I'm strong. And so you go in that direction, and it attaches to that energy, and you get more of it. Because everything you ever wanted, you dreamt about it and you visualized it. And I want that job, and I look like this, and I'm wearing this, and you got it. Okay, so we are manifestors, and everything you ever need is already here. It doesn't have to be invented or created. So keep focusing on what you want.
Yes, I love that. I did this exercise with my son, and he was cracking up because I said, don't picture yourself in underwear. And then he was like, that's hard to do, Mom. He just pictured himself, and we were like going through the little exercise. They were cracking up because they're like, everything you're telling us not to do, we're doing it in our brain.
That's right. And that's a good way to think about raising your children. Tell them what you want them to do, not what you don't want them to do. So we say, don't throw the clothes on the floor. Then they visualize the clothes getting thrown on the floor. And instead, you tell them what you want to do. Throw the clothes in the hamper. Now they see that. It's easier to do.
Wow, that is a good point. Ooh, maybe we can talk about this another time. I love it.
Yes.
We
Okay.
have a lot of moms here. Wow, thank you so much, Linda, for joining me. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. And I'm going to post all your info. You allowed me to put your number on this post. It'll be on the Facebook group. And if you want to join, I know you said you couldn't figure it out, but you can join our group and you can always answer anyone's questions through there as well. But they'll have your number so they can reach out to you. And then we'll let everyone else know when we have this group regression session together.
Okay.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Good. Thank you, Crystal. And thank you, Amy. Thank you. So you all have a really great night.
Yes, you too. Take care. Good night. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check these 2 other videos here. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy them. Thank you so much. Take care. Until next time.